Hi, thank you all for joining the series. We are the virtual webinars. It's just amazing that I've been invited to speak, and I'm speaking today about my favorite topic, which is on philanthropy, the therapeutic effect of philanthropy. I've been doing this for a number of years now, and this is where I get my most joy in my life from the work that I do, the people that I meet. And today I want to share lots and lots of tips with you about how I came into the charity sector. And I've also had an opportunity to combine the other sectors, such as the education sector. I was a teacher for 20 years, and I left that about 8 years ago now, and how I have joined the social care sector. I've learned a lot about personal development along the way over the past 8 years, and how that's really helped transform my life. So bringing all of these sectors together to create my own programs so that I can share them with the world. So now welcome, and thank you so much for joining the virtual webinars for We Are the City. And you can always check out We Are the City on their website, and of course their social media, and wearethecity.com has lots and lots of webinars that you can have a look at and you can register for, with lots of interesting talks, I'm sure, with some hugely inspirational speakers. So thank you all for joining, and I think we're ready to start. So about me, I'm Anita Goyal, MBE, and I have the honour of being here today, real privilege, with the support from Thought Leadership. Helen Croydon is also with us on this webinar, and so grateful that she's introduced me to We Are the City. I know we should always champion the people that support us. So thank you very much, Helen, firstly to you, shout out to you. And all the people that have helped me to, carve my path in this area of work that I will speak to you about today. So I'm going to just go on to share something with you all so that we can have a look a bit more about the work that I do. I hope you can all see that. Here we are. Whoops, wrong one. So today's talk will be about the therapeutic effect of philanthropy. Now, it may seem really easy to say, well, it's easy. If you give your time, your energy, your talent to the world, to the communities in which you live, that's going to have a really an amazing impact on you, because you're giving yourself, and when you give, you often feel that you're fulfilled in an area of your life which brings about a huge amount of happiness. And I will share with you what the happiness formula is. So I have a really good friend in America who talks about happiness is equal to G cubed. And G cubed simply stands for 3 Gs. And the 3 Gs are giving, gratitude, and growth. And if you do all of those 3 things, you'll lead a much happier life. And I want to share with you how I've managed to do that in my life. So just a little bit about me, what I do. I'm the chair of the Hemorrhage Goal Foundation, which was our family foundation, which was set up about 10 years ago to help support women and children, especially those from diverse communities. And we support about 30 charities a year. I'm also an author of the book Voices from Punjab, and I've just written my second book, Voices from Gujarat, really giving women a voice and shining a light on their contribution to British society. I'm also a podcast host and a philanthropist and an activist to empower women and minority groups to make positive changes in their career, habits, and relationships. I'm also founder of the Personal Development Workshops in Schools, which is a brand new program which I designed during lockdown. And this is where I brought all of the charity sector, the personal development sector, and of course my education background as being a teacher for 20 years. I was asked to be the Vice President of Barnardo's. That was last year now, and it's a huge honour to be asked to do this role. And I've worked with Barnardo's on other projects around the National FGM Centre, which I'll share a little bit more about later on. I'm also the ambassador of the Alzheimer's Society, together with my husband, Avnish Goyal, and we are in the care sector. We have our businesses, Hallmark Care Homes, and we have 20 care homes across the UK, and I think we've got about 4 in the pipeline. We employ 2,000 people in our business, and we also build and construct and design our own care homes through Vista Developments. I am also the patron of BT International, which is UK and India's first period charity. As I mentioned, I'm the author of Voices from Punjab and Voices from Gujarat, and these are real life stories of women who have made a great contribution to the British society and community. And my podcast show is Relight Your Fire, and I started that over lockdown. So I'd love to share a bit more about how this work has given me great joy and fulfillment in my life. So I've always believed that you should learn in a few hours what it's taken someone to learn in a lifetime. And one brilliant way of doing that is by reading books. So I'm going to share with you how I use the acronym LEARN to really enhance my life, and I hope that it can help you enhance your life too. A bit about my background. So this is me when I was 5 years old, and at 5, I was born in Forest Gate in East London, and I lived in the area for 10 years. And my parents are both immigrants. My mum came to the country when she was only 19 years old, and in fact, she gave birth to me when she was 19. And my father was here in East London since he was 14 years old. So back then, life in the 70s was quite tough, and the opportunities were quite scarce. And my parents were both labourers, and they both worked in factories, and didn't have much to make ends meet. But they lived together as a joint family, and my mum obviously had to endure a lot of differing family dynamics, the gender inequalities that existed at the time and still do exist, as well as language barriers and, of course, racism in the country at the time. And they had to endure so much back then, and it made them stronger and so resilient. And I've always been inspired by my mum in particular, and how she's overcome some of the barriers in her life and done so much in her career. And the Asian community is so heavily influenced. There's lots of stigmas and taboos, and we were surrounded by all of that. But we're surrounded by a very rich culture as well, which helped to build our values. And we got to recognize the benefit of having a really good education. And I worked very hard as a child at school, but I was a plain, simple girl. And when I look back at how I was brought up, it was in a very simple, humble background. As I grew up, there was always pressure to be a doctor or a dentist. My mum wanted either myself or my sister to go into the medical profession. I, of course, didn't get the grades, but I managed to get into university at Queen Mary to study engineering, biomedical engineering. And, I had probably quite a closed mindset. I didn't leave home. I stayed at home during my education. I had a boyfriend from a very young age who I later on went on to marry. And I just really had poor skills in knowing who I was and what I wanted in my life. I trained to be a teacher eventually because I loved to teach my favorite subject, which was science. And I combined this with working with young people. I absolutely loved working with young people whilst I was studying for my degree. And I was doing some volunteering work in a primary school. Anyway, fast forward 20 years of science teaching. In 2011, we were inspected our school, and I was rated as an Ofsted Outstanding Teacher. Shortly after which I left, having spent 20 years in a school. I was also an assistant head teacher of inclusive education and special needs, and I was also the Senko in the school. So I had a really rich career in teaching. But life wasn't that simple in my private life. So in my private life, I had many, many challenges. I had a very challenging relationship. So as I mentioned earlier, I married my boyfriend when I was 23, and I had my first child in 1997, a beautiful daughter, Simran, who is now 23. However, my marriage was, on the one hand, I was excelling in my career, at work, at school, and at home, I was really being pulled back through a very, very challenging relationship. And I'd say it was my biggest adversity, and it's probably where I learned my greatest lessons. And I lived every day and struggled in this marriage. And I just didn't have the tools to deal with anything, like, having a screwdriver and using it to fix everything when, or you may need a hammer or a spanner to be able to do the things, just to represent that. And I think the biggest challenge that I had, that we were living with huge incompatibility and clash of values. And I had planned to leave many times. And I felt that my values were often being exploited, and there was a lot of loss of trust in the relationship, and that was due to drugs and alcohol abuse on my husband's part. And it was simply a love triangle where there just wasn't any integrity, there was lack of maturity and irresponsibility, and it was a huge fatal flaw in our marriage, and it impacted us hugely, especially my daughter. My self-esteem and my confidence was at an all-time low for sure. And the impact on both of our healths was not great either. But not only was I battling with his addiction to alcohol and drugs, we were also battling against a horrible, horrible disease that he had, diabetes, type 1 diabetes, and really drugs and alcohol and diabetes is simply just a lethal mix. And on the 4th of June 2011, was the end of our relationship. It's when Narinder, my first husband, died suddenly, acute on chronic heart and kidney disease. He was only 40 years old, and I was 38, widowed, and my daughter was only 13 years old, as she lost her father. And the loss and pain really did tear through the whole entire family, with his brothers and sisters, with my family, my parents, everybody. It impacted the whole family and his family business. We all grieved with a broken heart. And we felt so let down and betrayed by him and angry. And as we can say, we can't buy time, that we've got to go through our grief, and that's all we could do. And the biggest message or the learning I got from this was that you may not be able to control someone else's negative behaviors and habits, but you can control how long you participated in it. And I stayed in this broken marriage for far too long. So I want you to consider this. We talk about the day that we're born, and I have written down the day that I believe I will die, 2072. So that's 100 years, and that's good enough for me. It's great for me if I could live for 100 years. But my question to you is, what is the most important part of these two dates? It's the dash. The dash is the most important part, and it's what you do with your life. And I got to realize this, that we're here on this earth to carry out a series of activities. So what do I do with the dash? And it's all about time and how you spend it. And that's up to you. It's all in your hands. It's your choice. And I love this scenario that a great author that I have a great deal of respect for is Robin Sharma. And he says in his book, if you sleep 7 hours a night and you work 8 hours every day, you still have 63 hours of free time every week to do all the things that you want to do. 63 hours per week. Now, this amounts to 252 hours every month. And that's 3,024 hours every single year on your life's pursuits. So there's a huge amount of hours. And that really gets me thinking is, how am I spending my time? What am I doing with my time? And why am I doing it? And I think if you start to really explore that, you'll start to unpick, areas of your life where you're holding yourself back. By looking at this, I hope this encourages you now to consider how valuable time really is. And as I said earlier, it's so important to learn from someone, learn in a few hours what has taken someone in a lifetime. Use your life lessons and wisdom to fuel your future growth, because there are no true tragedies, only lessons. And that's what I got to see from my adversity in my life. So by using this acronym, I'm going to share with you how I've transformed my life from where I led a very small, very private life, where I was not growing in the way that I wanted to. I was restricted, inhibited, and I was probably making the wrong choices. And how I truly started to look at my life and unlock my true potential. And I hope that these tips will really help you. And of course, I'll be sharing with you how that leads into having the therapeutic effects of philanthropy, because I think philanthropy is a thread of what I do in my life now. So I love reading books, and I share these books with you, not to impress you, but to impress upon you how you can learn where people have spent their life studying a topic, and how you can learn that just in a few hours. And these are a collection of books that I did with my family. So I have 3 grown-up children. Anand, who is 26, Simran Goyal, who is 24, and Simran Semi, which is my daughter from my first marriage, and she is 23 years old. And we're a blended family. So Anand and Simran Ji are from my husband's first marriage, but we came together united, sharing similar values. And one of the things we wanted to do was to bring us closer together to grow our mindset. So by picking non-fiction books, we decided to really expand our mindset. And we did this over a period of 1 year, where we'd pick a book. Each person had a responsibility of picking a book, and then we had a time scale within which to read it. And that person was responsible for holding a family meeting and talking about some of the topics in the books. And one of the biggest things that I learned from this is that this really, really helps you to have great conversations when you're out there networking with a diverse range of people, which I have over the recent years had an opportunity to meet some amazing people. And, I've been able to have some great conversations through expanding my knowledge and growing my mindset and being open-minded to some of the ideas that have been presented. So I just wanted to share this with you, how you can unite your family or friends to read some great books and really grow your mindset at the same time. So let's look at learning. Let's look at the first one, love, L. When I lost my first husband, I was on a journey of really spending time with myself and looking at what I love doing. And loving yourself for me was really, really important, because I think I'd neglected myself during the phase of taking care of my first husband with his illness. So when you get to love yourself and celebrate yourself, that really does help you to understand and honor your past. And one of the courses that I attended was the Landmark Forum. And through the Landmark Forum, I was able to write a letter to my first husband, Narendra, about forgiveness. I think forgiveness is so important, because forgiveness brings you peace. And I really needed that at the time. Anyway, so I did the Landmark Forum, and it helped me to uncover myself even more. It got me to see where my upsets were. It got me to understand, more about, say, ego, for example, and if I'm losing love or if I'm losing my peace of mind over something. And it just gave me an opportunity to throw myself in and give myself time to become who I wanted to become, truly wanted to become. So what I like to share also with everybody is, with you all, is something called Pies. And I got this from a fantastic author who wrote the book, The 7 Levels of Intimacy, Matthew Kelly. And he talks about how you can really grow yourself through your physical, your intellectual, your emotional, and your spiritual. And how if you look at those areas of your life and you work on those areas of your life, and you do that with, say, your partner or your family members, and how you encourage each other to be the best version of yourself through physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual, that you really get to be the best version of yourself. So I was on that discovery, because it really doesn't make any sense for you to worry about your past events or mistakes, and to use the lessons that you've learned to rise to a whole new level. And honestly, that's the journey that I was on. So I looked at my physical body, by doing exercise. You can see me doing yoga here, by getting a personal trainer, by looking at what I was eating, by reading more books, by watching more documentaries, growing my mindset, taking a look at my emotional behavior. And the Landmark Forum really helped me, as well as Tony Robbins, which is an amazing seminar you can attend with UPW. And I know it's all online now since the lockdown. And that really helped me to love more, to laugh more, and to do all the things that I love doing, to dance, to sing, and do all the things that make you laugh. And it helped me to bring more compassion and kindness to myself. And I started to create daily habits that will enable me to love myself even more and really take a look at who I'm being. And I urge you and encourage you to do the same for yourself. The other thing that I did was, back in 2012, was I created a vision board, and I set some goals, some ambitious goals. And my vision board really helped me to do that. And I really looked at what I wanted in my life, what I wanted, why I wanted it, who I wanted to become. And I, got to celebrate all the things I could see myself, enjoying my life with. So when we work with love in our lives, we renew the spirit. That renewal is an act of self-love, and it nurtures our growth. And that's the journey that I started off in 2011. And if you have the courage to succeed, the courage to start, you have the courage to succeed. And loving what you do also. So I love to write, so I decided to write Voices from Punjab, and I've just written a book called Voices from Gujarat. And this is where the therapy of speaking to other women, these are both charity books, finding their stories, finding their adversity, finding where they came from, understanding their heritage, to see who they are now and what has led them to become who they are. I love speaking to people. So then I started and created my podcast show, Relight Your Fire. And I'm just intrigued and interested in other people's lives. And when you start to do what you love, for my case, being curious and being creative, you can just unlock so much hidden potential. And through the years, I have found the courage and trusted myself to write these 2 books and launch my podcast show. I've also had an opportunity to use books to help me drive my philanthropy. So back in 2018, I was asked to be the honorary chair of the FGM appeal, and I said yes to it straight away because I was so connected to the cause. And the reason I was connected to the cause was about 15 years ago, I read a book, an amazing book called Desert Flower by Waris Theory. And she'd undergone the horrific practice of female genital mutilation. When I read that book, I was so appalled by what was going on. The gender violence against girls was horrific, and I didn't know about this, even though you'd say as a teacher that I should have known about it. But FGM training in schools at that time was not going on. And I'd worked in schools in East London, where there were girls in front of me who had undergone FGM, and I wasn't aware of it. So at that time, I was heartbroken to hear what these girls had undergone, or what Waris Theory had undergone. And when I was asked to become later on in the years, to become the chair of the Female Genital Mutilation Appeal, I had to say yes, because it was my calling. Because at that time, I really wanted to do the work in my philanthropy that meant a lot to me. Anyway, I want to share with you a film, which is on the next slide, about the work that we have been doing with Barnardo's around the National FGM Appeal, and it's a conference that was set in the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and this is where we get to raise awareness. And I'm so proud of this work that the Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation, which is our family foundation, and how we supported this whole event so that we could bring lots more people together to raise awareness. So if you could bear with me, the film is next. Today was our second FGM conference in collaboration with Barnardo's and the National FGM Centre and the local government association, and Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation were really proud to support this event. Today was about highlighting some of the psychological and physical impact and complexity of FGM.
We tend to look at what physically has been done to young women and women and girls who've experienced this, but actually I suppose it's a bit like an iceberg. You can tackle what you can see, but actually what you can't see, there's a lot more depth to.
So it's really an important day to share knowledge and to share understanding around FGM and why it's a safeguarding issue and how we could work better together.
I learned so much. I think especially really important to spread the knowledge and spread the word within communities. I think a lot of people don't realise how common FGM can be.
It really empowered me and inspired me to get on my Facebook Live and when I go home and try and speak to the people from where my parents are from in Sierra Leone and try to share awareness about FGM, why it's wrong, why there's no real benefit, medical benefit of it being done to children and young women, and how it is abuse to women's bodies.
I think what was the most interesting about the people that were there was the realization that this is something that happens across cultures.
It happens in London, it happens in all parts, all around the world, and it's a global fight. We should be protecting our bodies and not allowing people to have a misunderstood conception of beauty or acceptance or of womanhood, and to use that misconception to endanger young children's lives.
We didn't only have people who were like-minded, we had people who were questioning whether or not FGM is something that actually happens in the UK. And for me, it was really good that we got an opportunity to bring people who have different views and understandings and responses to FGM together, so we can start to create that dialogue and have that conversation.
It would be great if people went away today and shared the conversation that we've started around FGM and other faith and belief child abuse.
You guys really need to come next year because there's a lot of work to do, but you've got people here who want to help the cause.
Thank you. And the Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation, our family foundation, have had the privilege of raising 191,000 for the FGM appeal and really running events. I think we ran about 6 events back in 2018 and 19. If you want to find out more, please do visit the National FGM website, because there's so much information on there, huge amounts of information about, learning about the health implications, the types of FGM, the prevalence, and you'll just really gain a deep insight into how terrible this horrific practice is. I'd like to now move on to exploring yourself. So that's E in the learn, and how you can enrich and try out new experiencing, and also being a yes to life. Fill your life with experiences and not things. We have stories to tell, not stuff to show. Discover new things, go to new places and enrich your life with new learning. And I love traveling, and through my travel, I've just learned so much. And this is me on a trip with the Asian Women's awards on a delegation in Cambodia, which was last year. Actually, yes, it was last year in 2020, in February, just before the lockdown. And then above, you can see a picture of me with the Menstrual Dignity charity Binti in a girls' school in India, in Punjab, where we delivered menstrual education. And we had the honour of delivering this education to 13 schools in 8 cities across India. Fundraising, I love fundraising, and one of the things that I've done before is running a 5K for Lily Against Human Trafficking. It's a charity, one of my very first charities that I was inspired to be involved in, Lily Against Human Trafficking, with raising funds, raising awareness, and just bringing out what's happening to these girls in India. I've also been involved with World Menopause Day, again through Binti, talking about menopause a lot more, and yeah, so that's also another topic about health and women as well. So when you start to explore and become a detective of your life, you'll renew yourself, and it requires opening yourself to new ways of thinking and feeling, and that's what I started to do. And you can do that through so much. You can evolve through new experiences, and you can educate yourself through either getting a mentor, getting a coach, by reading books. You can have several mentors in your life. I heard a talk once by Jay Shetty in his book, talking about how mentors can be from enrich diverse lives. That it could be people who are not even around, who have died, through their books, reading their knowledge, reading their experiences, and mentors in films, in everything. Sometimes a mentor could be a grandmother or a grandfather, a saying, somebody says something to you, it could be a conversation, and also more formal things like going to events and seminars. So always explore how you can have an open mind, and how you can enrich your life through these new ways of learning. One of the things that I did was, with my husband, was to start our goal setting and vision board workshops. And we've been doing this for the last 6 years. Of course, early this year in 2021, in January, we couldn't do our seminar in person, so we did it online. And we had an opportunity to make a difference collaboratively, helping people from the age of, say, 5 to develop their mindset, empowering their mindset, education to focus, bringing new ideas, concepts, and our own life experiences on how to achieve your dream life. Remember, I said earlier that I created my first vision board back in 2012. We get to bring families together, and this year, January, we normally do it in the second week of the beginning of the new year. We brought 1,000 people to attend the annual event virtually. So it was incredible. So imagine if you could transform your health and your well-being, your relationships, your career. You could create an abundance of wealth and be more fulfilled using some simple techniques. We can take people through a process that will help them achieve their dreams, goals, and aspirations. It's all about being a detective of your life and getting you passionately into action. And this, we say to everyone, is a wonderful gift that you can give to yourself at the start of the new year. And more recently, we have been working on our next project, which is personal development workshops in schools. So I'm going to talk about appreciation now. So that's the A in Learn, where you get to appreciate yourself and others. And through these workshops, we teach children to give compliments authentically to people around them, and to also thank people around them. And we get young people to acknowledge others politely, but you can also do this in your life and practice being grateful in all your experiences, no matter how big or how small that is, by simply writing a thank you note, and stop complaining and start living. Appreciate the learning opportunities that you have. I've done this through my personal development workshops that I created during lockdown. And this helps young children really believe in themselves, So I want to share a short video with you about the personal development workshops. And I will honestly say, this is where I get a huge amount of joy. This is so totally therapeutic for me. When I go to the schools with my workshop leaders, who are amazing motivational speakers, who give young people an opportunity to shine, to open their mindset, and to look at how they can have a great life and really help build their resilience, their mindset, and to help them to grow and to achieve better in school. So I'm going to share this personal development workshop with you that we've been doing in our ambassador school at the Carlsford Academy in Wolverhampton. Anyone in teaching can tell you that education is more than textbooks or exams. Schools are a place where children and young people learn social and emotional skills and train their minds to approach different challenges. Teaching these skills is vital in setting students up for academic and career success, protecting their mental health and preparing them to play an active role in society. For children and young people in the UK, this has been the first extended closure of schools in recent history, and as such, its impact on their mental health and well-being is important to consider. And the fact that school is often the first place that pupils can and do seek support for their mental health and well-being. Schools have mentioned the after effects of COVID, such as pupils feeling very negative, disillusioned, unmotivated and disengaged. The Hemorrhage Goal Foundation created a bespoke personal development program for schools, which provide head teachers and senior leaders with evidence towards the Ofsted criterion for leadership and management, behaviour and attitude, personal development and sixth form. More importantly, the workshops are designed to empower young people through personal development and access to crucial life skills training. We have already helped hundreds of children around the country. The workshops are led by experienced speakers that are highly engaging. Jermaine Harris leads the Happiness Workshop, which helps pupils develop healthy behaviours and gives them practical tools to build self-confidence and resilience. The workshops include hours of inspiration from many speakers, including Avnish Goyal on life skills and entrepreneurship, Tosin Ogunwusi on empowerment, and inspirational speakers like Leah, who is the first British Asian woman to swim the English Channel. The empowering workshops can also include amazing activities like board breaking. We continue the workshop by talking about how powerful the mind is, and a clear example is shown to the students when our incredible speaker Jermaine walks barefoot on glass. Another one of our workshops is held by Harry Singer about finding your voice. This workshop has not only helped over 1 million young people around the world to help themselves, but also to support their friends and loved ones to do so too. The students leave with practical tips they can start using the very same day.
So we attended the workshop yesterday, and as a member of the staff I felt it was quite positive. It helped me change my mindset, because breeding positivity helps bring positivity into the children's lives. So we're in the classroom. I think if we apply that change of mindset to ourselves as teachers, it might uplift the children, help them with their education, but also their personal development, which is a key thing that we learned from yesterday.
It was very interactive and everyone was involved.
From a leader's perspective, actually personal development is one of the key criteria for an Ofsted inspection. So when you look at these workshops that Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation are putting on, they actually tick a lot of those boxes.
Not only do the students find our workshops beneficial, so do all the teachers and supporting staff. The sessions with the teachers are having a ripple effect on the students. The Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation are offering all these workshops completely free of charge. To find out more information about the workshops and the Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation, contact info@hgf.org.uk. These workshops in schools have enabled me to truly give my time and to be grateful to work with young people, because I love working with young people, and to grow my mindset. And I am so appreciative and so grateful for the opportunities that have enriched my life, and how our foundation has just been able to support various schools. And here you can see some pictures of board breaking going on with our ambassador school, the Carlsford Academy. My experience of bringing the charity sector, education sector, and personal development world together is perhaps my calling right now in my life. And I believe that we all have special talents and they're just waiting to be unveiled in a worthy pursuit for sure. So consider this. Is there something that you have a special talent in? And how do you lock your human potential whilst valuing and appreciating the lives around you? You don't have to leave the job that you have now. It simply means that you need to bring more of yourself into your work and focus on the things that you do best. It means that you have to stop waiting for other people to make the changes that you desire. And once you do, your life will transform and evolve. And next, I want to talk to you about the R in learn. So relating. What's relating? Well, they say that relationships are the foundations to everything, that the quality of your relationships are proportional to the quality of your life. And I so do believe this. Here you can see some pictures of me with my family, my mother-in-law, my husband, and my 3 children, and my son's girlfriend there as well. So I actually say I have 4 children. And with my best friend, who's always been there to support me through my hard times. Here we are at Ascot together, enjoying our day out. And also some friends that we went to on a health retreat with my husband and our best friends. And it's so important. It's the key to life to relate to other human beings, especially family and friends. So why is healthy relating so important? Because as humans, the relationships that we form with other people are vital to our mental and emotional well-being and really our survival. So a positive relationship can be shared by any 2 people who love, support, encourage, and help each other practically as well as emotionally. And this also applies to work, friends, and as I mentioned, family, parents, and children. So having a great relationship with my family is really important for me. To be my best self and to try and think before saying anything has really empowered me in terms of my communication. And I've just had an opportunity to learn so much from lots and lots of seminars that I've been to. But one thing particularly sticks with me, and that's probably come with experience, is the acronym THINK. It's about thinking before you speak. Is it the truth? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational? Is it necessary? And finally, is it kind? That takes me nicely into network, your peers. So this is the N in learn, the last one. They say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I really am careful and I select who I spend my time with, especially with a trusting network of people who are aligned with or have similar values, who challenge your thinking, who help you to grow, to give you honest feedback, to help you reach your true potential, who inspire you and who are great role models, to help you elevate your standards, to challenge your habits. And it's entirely up to you how you go forward, with your new alliances and your friendships and acquaintances. You can form new networks by joining different clubs, people who like in similar activities as you, groups and organizations. Or you can, embrace yourself with trying something completely new, as I said earlier, with the new learning, new experiences and exploring your life. And really start to think about the qualities of the people that you're most attracted to, and also why you're attracted to them, and what makes them so admirable, and how you might foster such qualities in your life. So I really believe that if you surround yourself with people that reflect who you want to be and how you want to feel, energizes you, and energies are contagious. I'm now going to share a short film with you about how the power of networking is so incredible, and it's allowed me to connect with others in the world that I could never have imagined that I would ever meet. And this film was recorded at the end of a trip, the India trip that we did back in 2019. And this is with the charity Binti. We celebrated 5 years of Binti. And we also I was also judging the Global Good Awards there on the trip. And it highlights some of the best moments to understand the projects that we've been supporting over the past few years with British Asian Trust, with Mighty Nepal, also with the work that Binti are doing. And there's many, many other organisations there as well. And I just want to share some of these best moments with you. I'm Anita Goyal, and I'm the CEO of the Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation. I've been involved in philanthropy for the last 5 years. It's been my food for my soul, so that's what's encouraged me to just throw myself into this and immerse myself into this work. So philanthropy for me is giving my time and my efforts into bringing causes and awareness about issues in the world, the inhumane and injustice that can often be hidden, and bringing that out openly to the public and delivering some key messages. I think for the world, philanthropy is vital for human growth, for contribution to humankind, is essential for changes that we wish to see in the world. So philanthropy is not just about somebody who has access to huge funds where they can write a check and they can give readily and easily. I think it's about anybody can be involved in philanthropy. And I think it's also important to raise awareness about all kinds of issues. There's injustice in something that's happening to children, to women, and saying, why is this happening? Why is this happening to these people? I think philanthropy is about children being involved and saying, how can I be part of this change? Because they are our future. So I encourage all of the next generation to see what they can do to really start becoming the next generation of philanthropists that we really need in this world. And to further my networking opportunities, I'm involved with all of these areas that are on the screen right now. So with the Period Charity, with charities in the social sector, such as the Alzheimer's Society, the Care Workers Charity. We recently just started supporting Together with Music. And I'm also involved with the Hallmark Care Homes business, but also one of the founders of Hallmark Care Homes Foundation, which we just established earlier last year, and other entrepreneurial organizations, such as the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur, and other women's groups as well. This is the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and obviously the children's charity Bernardo's, which is very, very dear and close to my heart. The British Asian Trust is also work on trafficking, as well as League Against Human Trafficking. So all of this work has just really helped me to grow my mindset. And I came into the charity sector not knowing much about the charity sector. Remember, I was a teacher for 20 years. I left the education sector. And for me, it was all about how do I embrace the opportunities that I now have to learn, to have an open mind, and really connect with the causes that I felt that were important for me, and how I could bring some enthusiastic change to that particular area. So my networks were not like this on day one. My networks have grown one by one. And I keep connected and engaged with all of them by giving my time, my energy to be part of their mission that is aligned with me and my values, with giving back and making a difference. So in my life, I've redefined myself actively listening and learning and choosing to live my best life every day. And I choose it, and I make empowering choices. And I have gratitude for all those that have championed me and helped me to engage in all of these new adventures, and opens up, new opportunities for me. I've taken risks as well, because when you start to take risks, you just don't know what's going to open up for you. I've always kept an open mind. And redefining yourself is honestly like relighting your fire and reactivating your hopes, your dreams and desires to be who you want to be with a clear purpose. And I think that's how I've created my life, to really understand the therapeutic effect of philanthropy. And finally, so we've looked at learn, to love, to explore, to appreciate, to relate, and to network. And I use all of these in my life to redefine my life, my identity for what I want to be and why I want to be this, to lead it with my choices, my clarity and vision. And I decided to take action, and I believed in myself. And there were days that I didn't. So I've always had great support with family and friends around me. And I've evolved to be more fulfilled and happier. And I found that happiness equals G cubed is such a powerful way to share what you really want in your life. So G is giving, second G is gratitude, and third G is growing. And multiply them all together will have a really great impact on your happiness levels. So how will you redefine yourself? Thank you for listening, everyone. And I think that there may be an opportunity for any questions. And I'll see if Ellie, if there's any opportunity for any questions.
There's no questions at the moment, but we can give the attendees a few minutes to see if they have any they can think of.
Sure. So whilst we're waiting for that, I think it's really important to share about how can people get involved with philanthropy. What would be I've talked about a lot of the benefits already for sharing my experiences and how that's helped me to grow and increase my happiness levels. And again, that's very therapeutic. But some of the ways I think that people can explore this particular sectoral area is to, maybe find a charity or a cause that they can really connect with, or, and once you find that, to research that. I mean, there's so many causes on social media that you can follow, especially if you're following some activists around the work on FGM, as I shared with you earlier. So find what you really feel that you could contribute to, because everybody can give something, even if it's your time or your talent. It doesn't always have to be money, but we'll explore what it is that you would like to do, how you think you can make a difference, and how you can bring that together. So for me, I felt that part of my giving was through my writing. So by writing the 2 books, I could raise more money for, say, for example, a project in India, in Punjab. That's my aim. As soon as I get an opportunity to go back to India, I'll be donating, I think, around £10,000 for a women's project, a women's livelihood project, because Voices from Punjab talks about the adversity faced by women from Punjab. My second book, Voices from Gujarat, I'll also be doing the same. I'll be fundraising. All the money that I get from selling that book, I'll be using towards funding a project in Gujarat. And that was driven by my desire to be an author, connecting with what I love doing, and also being able to fundraise from that as well, and also raise awareness. I think it's really important that we lift each other, we champion each other's voices, and through that, there's great joy. When I celebrate my friends, and when I celebrate my my colleagues or my contacts through my networks, especially in the female empowerment space, it gives me great joy. I love complimenting women for the amazing stuff that they're doing. So I think there's so much great value that you can draw from a sector, and combining sector together. Anyone can do charity work, or anyone can do philanthropy. It's very, very simple, very easy. Even if you're just sharing a social media post about something, even if it's around FGM, I think it's hugely powerful if you align yourself with something, a cause or an activist or a campaigner. It helps to deliver the messages more powerful. So it's so I'm really, really glad that we've had this opportunity to share my life in the various sectors, and especially the therapeutic effect of philanthropy. And thank you all again for joining the series of We Are the Virtual webinars from wearethecity.com. And it would be great if you could also visit my new website, which just launched a couple of weeks ago, anitagoyal.com. And of course, I'm on all the social media on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well. And of course, people can message me and find out more about any of these topics that I talked about today. Otherwise, you can also have a look at the Hemorrhage Goyal Foundation website, which has got a lot more about our education program, which is happening in schools currently. And we can tell you more about that. And what we need to do is, I'm going to actually ask you all to help me to educate 10,000 children by the end of December. We have already worked with 2,000 children through the personal development workshops with organisations like the Outward Bound Trust, who are absolutely amazing, who are now going into schools and doing outside learning with students, building their resilience and teamwork. I was at school last week, at Rugby School, an all-boys school, and it was pouring down with rain, it was freezing cold, and they were out there in their shorts and their PE tops, and they were skipping, and they linked hands in circles, and they had to take this hula hoop round, and they had to all stay connected. They couldn't break the circle. They were working together, team building, and it was incredible because young people haven't had some children haven't had a chance to be in the playground because they've joined the school, they're in year 7, and they've only had one term. So the head teacher was showing that how they just lacked social skills. So that's the kind of things that I do. And every time I go to these schools, I absolutely love it. I'm going to share one last story with you before I finish. I was at a school a couple of weeks ago at Arthur Academy in Redbridge, where I had Jermaine Harris, who's a fabulous speaker, doing his workshop on happiness. And I also shared my video clip about the charity work, one that you've all had an opportunity to see. And this girl, year 4 girl, came bouncing up to me full of energy. She said to me, Miss, my mum and dad really want me to be a doctor, but she says, but I've decided I want to do charity work. And she just ran off, literally bounced away. And I looked at her and I thought, wow, you could actually do both, to become a doctor and do charity work. And it's how you can combine your profession with philanthropy. That's amazing. So I look forward to hopefully hearing your thoughts and receiving your messages. And I hope you all get an opportunity to go on my new website, anitagoyal.com. Thank you very much to the team at We Are the City. I think it's amazing, the work that you're doing to really lift people's voices. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.